Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Brother 26 Roundtable podcast. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and this is, of course, the podcast where we talk about everything from the feeds and we rate the players from 1 to 10 based on how well we think they are doing in the game this week. And with me this week to talk about all of the happenings, she's back. It's Melissa. How you doing, Melissa?
I am doing great. I'm so happy to be back. I have been waiting and patiently watching feeds and all the recaps and everything and wanting to talk. Look, we've got the whole gang here. Dogs in the background barking, baby on the side, everything's happening. So yeah, it's very, very good to be back. Oh, we've got a special visitor.
Oh my God.
That's a great way to do this.
We've got a baby.
A fresh baby. Look
Hold
at
on.
that.
How do I make Melissa? No, not me. How do I make Melissa big?
It's too late, Taran.
Too
Damn it.
late. Taran's like, oh, just me. I just want to have me on here.
That baby
yeah.
won't steal my spotlight.
Yeah, Taran's like, get that baby out of here. But yeah,
He's
that
so
baby,
little.
He's so
Yes.
tiny. He's just a teeny little boy. But
Aw.
anyway, I'm very happy to be back. I was like literally texting Sam like last week, being like, when am I getting back on? I'm getting back on. I was very excited. So I'm very happy to be here to talk Big Brother.
Yes. You were literally in the chat in the hospital.
I literally was. It was literally, I was in the hospital bed, like with all the IVs and the medications in me and everything. And I was just like watching the round table and just like, because I was supposed to be on. I really had all intents to be on. And then I was supposed to be on the recap the next day too. And then baby had other plans, I guess. I don't know.
They really do.
That was wild.
Well, Melissa is not the only married mother on this podcast. She has some competition.
Uh-oh.
And that competition's name is Mari. How you doing, Mari?
I'm good. Okay, no competition here. It's not like Angela and Brooklyn. Like we can both be here. We can both be married mothers, and we can both beat up on Taran.
You can
and
have
the rest
more
of these
than one
houseguests.
married mother.
Yeah.
That's what Mari says.
Yes. Right.
I don't know.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to be back. That just I'm over here like, oh, the baby was so cute. So yeah, I'm happy. And we're about to tank some stocks. Let's tank some stocks, Taran.
We love
Let's
tanking
go.
stocks here on the Roundtable podcast. The first portion of this podcast, we're going to talk about the week in the feeds. We're going to do a little bit of a recap, a little bit of the discussion on the top headlines of the week. And then in the second half of the podcast, we will rate the players, each one of them individually on a scale of 1 to 10. That's what we're going to do. Those ratings then impact the price of these players in the Stockwatch game that you can play at home at readyyyy.com. You can buy and sell shares of these players week to week based on how well you think they will do in the future. So that's what we have. And ultimately, I think despite there being a fair amount of talk and theoretical movement, no significant actual movement so far this week. A lot of what we thought would happen did happen. And we lost Kenny, which was sort of not necessarily the result we expected, but I think the result that many people were hoping for. And that meant that Quinn, of course, was just going to basically have an HOH guaranteed to him via the deep fake power. That happened. Quinn went after Tucker as we expected he would. But then Tucker won the veto. And then there was a whole thing. Was he going to use the veto on himself or on somebody else? A lot of back and forth yesterday. But ultimately, we discovered today that he did, in fact, use the veto on himself. Rubina went up as the replacement, which means right now, Rubina, MJ, and volunteer Cedric are on the block, will face off in the AI arena competition. As of right now, MJ is the presumed target, though that could change. Somebody like Chelsie might feel a little different. Cedric should be lock safe. right now. That could also change. Somebody like T-Core Kimo might feel a little different. And Rubina could be in some trouble depending on how things go. If Makensy wins the AI Arena competition, Rubina likely leaves. If Rubina wins, MJ likely leaves. But again, there's a few days left for all of that to change. The other stuff happening, you have some alliances coming and going. There's an alliance called 5 Points that's kind of barely real, but maybe a little bit, and it's Tucker, T-Core, Kimo, Rubina, and Brooklyn. Tucker's been working closely with Angela. Apart from that, it's mostly been the same. And that's pretty much the recap. Melissa, you have been gone for a while. Tell
Yes.
me your thoughts. What has
I
been
know.
happening?
I know. Literally, it was like I only got to talk about the first episode. That was it. And all we got on the first episode was just like some half of the introductions and like a competition. So that is all I got to talk about. So yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, like Angela is not at all what I thought she was going to be going into this season. She's just wild and you really never know what to expect from her. And then Tucker, like, he's not what I expected at all. I mean, I thought he was going to be a fun character to watch, but I really didn't expect him to be this, like, erratic and this, like, crazy. And the fact that we're all shocked that he used the veto on himself. I mean, he is certainly the type of Big Brother player that you like want to watch, or at least I want to watch. I'm very excited, like, because you never know what he's going to do. I don't know if he's necessarily like playing a great game in terms of like actual strategy or like how we typically think of a great game, but he's certainly playing like an old school style of Big Brother that you're just drawn to, or at least I'm drawn to. It's very exciting. But I am worried that he's going to flame out really early just because he's winning so many competitions and he's not fully like solidifying himself with the group. I think like if he could market himself as, I'm this great comp beast, take me in your alliance, let's solidify something and I'll be working for you, that would be great for him. But I have a feeling that people are going to be wary of working with him. At least I would be, because you never know what he's going to do. He could one day use the veto, one day not use the veto, decide that he just wants to, say screw it and be put on the block as a pawn. Like, I just wouldn't know if I could trust him. But he's certainly exciting to watch. And of course, there are two of the people on my draft. So that's great for me. It's Tucker
Number one pick.
So I know it's literally Tucker and Angela. I'm like, what have I done? But that's fine. Well, at least they're exciting
safe for a week.
Yeah, I'm safe for 1 week, so that's good. Honestly, I'm so glad that both Angela and Tucker are safe because I want to see more of what they're gonna bring. Like, I just feel like we haven't seen enough of them, and so I don't want them going home. I do feel like I am liking a lot of the cast. I know it's still kind of early to say that. And I feel like every year I start off being like, I love these people. And then I end up like hating half of them. So at this point, I'm at a love situation where I do really like them. And I think they're fun to watch. And even when they're like playing Mafia or whatever, it's still kind of fun. Or just like when they're chatting. I don't know if there are any people playing that are so amazing strategically yet. I think that some people are playing better strategic games, but they're playing more like under the radar. And I don't really know like if they'll be able to, pull it out in the end and actually really have the strategy. Like, I think I've heard you guys all talk about like Brooklyn. I think she's doing very well. And I'm very surprised because I honestly wasn't expecting that from her, but like she seems to be pulled into every single alliance at all times. And I'm always surprised when people are like, yeah, let's bring Brooklyn into this. Cause it's like, oh, was she part of your group or was that something? But she's doing a great job. So, I mean, that's a good sign. I've been really enjoying it. I think I know this has been talked to death, but it hasn't been talked to death by me. So I want to talk it, which is that it is impossible to watch feeds this year. It makes it so much less enjoyable to not be able to rewind. I totally feel disconnected. I feel most connected when I'm on Twitter watching little mini clips of what's going on and reading about the feeds, because I feel like every time I happen to be like, hey, I'll go turn on the feeds right now, it's just puppies and kittens and fish, and I never get what I want to see. So I'm always missing the strategy conversations. I'm always missing everything, and I have to like follow back on Twitter and get caught up on everything to figure out what just happened. Typically, my typical routine would be I wake up in the morning on my own time, and then I go on the feeds and I rewind to the night before, and I get to watch everything that I missed, and I feel very caught up and everything's great. And I can't do that anymore. And it's very annoying. And I just feel like they're ruining their own product, and it makes it so much less enjoyable. And I originally didn't really talk much about this because like when on my like 2 podcasts that I've done so far for this, because I felt like they were going to change it. I thought for sure they were going to like be like, this is dumb, and then give us the rewind feature. Or at least let us rewind to like the start of the day or a few hours at least or something. And they have given us literally nothing. So that's classic Big Brother, classic CBS. But anyway, that has been very annoying for me. And I just feel like without the clippers on Twitter, I would not have any clue what is going on here. I mean, imagine the fact that feeds were started or whatever, and I'm literally like in the hospital and I can't watch anything. I would have no idea what was going on if I didn't have my phone and I didn't have Twitter. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. And I'll let it go because I know everyone's annoyed about like people constantly bringing this up and it blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that was very frustrating, and it's been really frustrating. So thank you, Twitter. Thank you to the Clippers. Anyway, sorry.
The Clippers. My head went to like scissors. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought mine went to the basketball team.
I was gonna say that, but I wasn't sure that was an actual basketball team.
You're like,
I'm glad to know that my head went to the right place. Listen, I know about basketball now. I watched them at the Olympics.
Yeah,
I know all about Steph Curry.
Yeah,
yes.
Threes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did you see that French commentator who's like, "Oh no, Steph Curry! Oh no, the devil hands!" It's so funny.
I didn't see that.
I literally was like, "Yes, this is so good."
Not us talking sports.
So
I do agree with you, Melissa. It's it's been hard. Literally for me, being up in the middle of the night, I turn them on in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh look, I'm actually catching the feeds live because I have no choice.
Yeah.
Might as well watch the feeds while I'm trying to rock this baby back to sleep. But you're right. It can be hard, but that's why like I appreciate the Big Brother community that we have on Twitter, who keep us up to date, keep the updaters up to date so that we can then work our magic and find what we need to find in order to do what we do. So shout out to those people. I mean, RHAP's been catching a lot of flack lately. I guess you guys have nobody in the house to rag on. Everybody's so lovable. Now y'all got to come for RHAP. I don't like it. I don't like it. We're clapping back over on Twitter. So it's me. I want all of the smoke. Yes.
I want none of it. Listen,
keep Taran out of it.
No, I want all of the smoke.
Taran's an innocent.
People have been ridiculous coming at Twitter. Coming at Taran about Quinn and coming at us.
Oh, are they coming at me?
Oh yeah.
Taran. Yes, they are.
Taran.
We can't control none of this. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, is it? Hold on. Can I guess? Is it because I'm pro Quinn or anti Quinn? I'm guessing it's anti.
No, they think you are in love with Quinn.
Oh,
they think that like Quinn is like Quinn is just playing to you, and like that is annoying.
Oh well, yeah, I know they're annoyed about that.
But, like that's all.
I didn't realize
fault,
they
Taran.
thought I
like
see,
the
I
fact that you're giving good content, the fact that you're doing deep dives, like that's honestly your fault. So you're ruining
you're ruining everything.
You're ruining the game. So I mean, look, I don't love the fact that people are like, oh, I just want to get a deep dive and like I'm gonna, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
Like
it
I
is
don't love
annoying.
that because it's like we want to do the deep dive so we can get more information about like the game and
Yeah.
the way it's played, but like you're not gonna get a deep dive unless you go far in the game. So maybe focus that your energy on like doing well in the game and getting yourself far enough to get a deep dive rather
Exactly.
than talking about like, oh, my deep dive, when it's literally like what, like week 3, week 2, I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
It's very much like the kids say, like, do it for the plot nowadays. It's like, why are you like, why are you thinking of things that you're orchestrating in order to come on a podcast and talk about it? It's like, we appreciate the love, we appreciate the shout outs and all that stuff in the house, I'm
Yes,
sure.
yeah,
But it's
totally.
like, we really just want to watch you play the game. And I think you talked about it really well on Sunday, Taran, about like Quinn kind of coming off inauthentic and stuff like that. I think he can, but I still am enjoying what he's doing. And it's the same thing. Like him and Tucker are, it's so funny how they're like this, like two sides of the same coin, because they are both just playing it up. You know, one just happens to be a super fan that's trying to like kind of play to the Twitter audience, and
We hate super
Tucker,
fans more than super fans.
yeah, exactly. And then Tucker is kind of like playing to like the casual audience. I feel like
Yes.
he does all the voices. He wants to be an actor. He wants to make every scene big and loud. And it's just so funny because they're both the same, you know what I'm saying? And like it can be grating and annoying on both sides for both of them doing stuff, but it's just like, I think, are we kind of nitpicking, not we, the audience, nitpicking, because I mean, so far, let me knock on wood, we're 4 weeks in and the drama is great without being problematic. We don't have any racist people so
Yes.
far from what we know. I don't know what Leah said, but like we don't like
We'll see.
the villains are villainy without being villainy villains. Like, I don't know. I love it. I like Melissa said, normally by this time I'm like, oh, I have a full hate on for like somebody or something like that. But honestly, I like this whole cast. I still plan to take their stocks because the gameplay is not there, but I truly do like how they all mesh together. It's going to be so sad to see like a lot of these people go, but I do love also the spirit of sportsmanship within the house. Like, it's like, dude, I'm coming for you, but also, how are you doing mentally today? Like Quinn asking Tucker. Like,
Yeah.
I like that. Like it shows that you can play a game, you can play a cutthroat game, you can play like they're not playing as cutthroat as they should, but you can do all of that. You can be entertaining and you can still be like good people.
Yes.
Shocking.
I totally agree. And I agree with what you said about Quinn. Like, I am enjoying what Quinn is doing. I'm enjoying watching him play. I really didn't want him to go this week. I love the idea of like a rivalry between him and Tucker. Like, they're both very exciting characters. Like, I have fun watching both of them. I really like watching Joseph too. I feel like there's something there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just am excited to see what he's gonna do. I really have been appreciating all the people so far, and I don't like the hate that Quinn is getting. I just feel like it's unwarranted. I think that like he's just trying to play up being a character, and I totally agree with what you said. I do think it seems very much like Tucker and him are very similar, and yet Tucker is getting a bunch of love and Quinn is getting a bunch of hate. And I do not see why that is at all. Like, I mean, for me personally, like I think they're both really fun and exciting to watch, but whatever. And yes, I agree that Tucker is for the casuals. I mean, he's for everybody, but like my mom and dad were like watching and they were like, we love Tucker. He's so exciting. You never know what he's going to do. He's like very big brother, blah, blah, blah. They were thinking he was like Dr. Will or whatever. They were really loving him. So he's certainly doing a great job for the casual audience. And yeah, I mean, like, and for everyone else as well. Like, it's fun to watch that sort of like, whatever, I just want to play the game. Like everyone's playing too safe sort of stuff. I don't think it's like great for like ratings in the Stockwatch, but who cares? It's fun to watch.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
you know, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, and I've said this before, but like it's fine to hate people in the house. Like that's listen, I get it. I think that's half the fun for most people is that you get to hate some people in the house. But like, I think that this is true for most people, but like this season, you get to hate people for like little things.
Mhm.
Like, man, this person annoys the crap out of me. This
Yeah.
Quinn guy is so obnoxious. Like, that's fun. That's fun hate. And like,
Mhm.
as long as you don't take it too far, like I feel like that's like perfectly warranted. And I'm not gonna sit here and say you shouldn't hate Quinn, you shouldn't hate Tucker, you should hate whoever you want to hate. As long as it's in the context of like watching a character on a show, you're not gonna like go out of your way to like make them feel bad about themselves after the fact or whatever. Like I think that's all part of the experience. And I think
Mhm.
that, like is it the best part of the experience for the players? No, and I do
Mhm.
think that like you should always be careful about the way that you go about your hate. But I do think that like having your favorites, having the people you root against. When I say hate, I really feel like I'm saying root against.
Yeah.
That's part of the experience, and everyone should feel free to have that. Especially when there's no like serious real world stuff happening to
Mhm.
interfere with that balance. And I think that's, I think a lot of people call it like old school. The reality is that old school was just ignoring the real life stuff and like
Mhm.
having your cake and eating it too. Whereas this is more so genuinely just like you don't even have to really ignore anything. We're just kind of enjoying this
Mhm.
experience. Quinn annoys the crap out of me.
Mhm.
So does Tucker sometimes. Like, honestly, a lot of these people annoy the crap out of me. I'm here primarily for gameplay, and they're frustrating me. I can tell you that.
That's
So it's, I'm enjoying watching Quinn's downfall and kind of, like, that's why I thought people were going to be like, oh, it's Tara, why do you hate Quinn so much? But I really think there's a lot of fun to be had here so far. We've said that in the first half of seasons before, but I think that hopefully this era continues, and we're able to continue to enjoy this in a good way, in a way
in a
like we
normal, sane
yeah,
way.
and we can war against each other too. Fandom wars are fine. Just don't take
Yes.
any of it too serious. Listen, hate me
Right.
because you don't like what I'm saying. Root against me as a bot. Like I'm fine with that too. Like it's all part of the
See
game.
it.
We're all just having fun here.
You don't see it. Everybody's like,
Yeah, I
"Oh,
mean, I probably
RJP
won't see
does
it,
this,
but
this, and
like,
that." And it's like, "Oh, all of us are just sitting here like, oh, okay, I didn't know we were all generalized."
don't hate on the podcasters. Listen, if you
Yeah,
don't like what
please.
I'm saying, don't transfer that to other people. They're their own people. Leave them alone.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Agreed.
But all right, we've got a survey.
Mm.
We can talk
Yeah.
about a survey here. This is, of course, where I ask the audience to rate people, but also some other questions like, who's your favorite? Speaking of, and maybe we can get a sense on where the audience stands on the favorite. Who are they rooting for? Who are they rooting against? Mari, Melissa, who do you think?
I feel like
Oof.
people are rooting for Tucker.
Yeah, I think Tucker's number
I don't know if
one.
I have my finger on the pulse yet, though. So,
I
like,
mean,
Hmm.
I think
T-Core's
people are
been
rooting
number
for.
one the last 2 weeks. So, but I might go with T-Core again, but it's like everything is so spread. I'm prepared for Taran to tell us that these are the most spread out votes so far because I feel like everybody has done like everybody's game is in such different places and everybody has so many different fans, like pockets of fans that I think it's going to be like really like spread out like who's the top.
Hmm.
I'm gonna just go with T-Core because I'm still rocking with T-Core, you know. I think T-Core probably has some diehard fans, even if she's like not doing much. So I'll go with T-Core.
I'll do Tucker just because I think T-Core has not been doing, like Mari said, doing all that much. And I think people might be kind of like getting a little frustrated with the fact that she's not. And I think people are pleased that Tucker is staying in the house, I think. So I think Tucker, but I don't know.
Okay, well, I can tell you, Mari, you're correct on both
Yes.
counts.
Mm-hmm.
T-Core in the top spot, but this is definitely, maybe perhaps the most spread out field I've seen.
Yep.
So T-Core does have a bit of a lead over the next batch, but there's quite a few in the next batch. So do you have a guess? Who's number 2?
I'll just go with Tucker because I'll just keep going with Tucker until eventually he shows up.
I mean, honestly, because I don't think Quinn's up there. This is really hard. I'm trying to remember last. Is Kimo
like
still
Cedric?
up there? People still up there with is Kimo still is T-Core and Kimo still riding out rave? I'll go with Kimo.
Okay, well, last week, second place was Brooklyn.
Oh yes, okay, yeah, I do.
This
remember
week,
that now.
Cedric.
Okay, so I did say Cedric.
Yeah, you did.
But I did ask, do people like him? So
I love Cedric.
I get credit for that a little bit, half points.
He has risen from 5th place up to 2nd.
I truly love Cedric. He just gives such like soft boy energy to me, but like in a good way. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just so cute and so unassuming and so nice. Yeah.
I feel like also he handled himself really well during the like Tucker confrontation. I think like that could have been a situation where, especially because Tucker was like, the truth will prevail, and like you didn't say it, like even if you did say it, which you didn't, and it's like he did say it. So like to be told that you didn't say it, like I get so frustrated when it's like you never said that, you never, and it's like no, I literally did. Like roll back the tape. Like, so I just feel like he handled that so well.
That was so funny,
especially because like at the time I wasn't like watching the initial confrontation. I wasn't sure if I believed Tucker because I was like, he's so confident that he didn't say to use the veto. Like he's so confident. So I was like, oh, like Cedric's lying. He's saying he told him not to use it or to use it on himself or whatever. And he didn't. And it turns out Cedric was the one telling the truth. And so I feel like he just handled that so well. I mean, I think he handled it well in the sense that he didn't get mad, but he also didn't handle it well in the sense that like he didn't convince anyone that he actually did tell him to use the veto on himself. So, you know, not great in terms of argumentation, but great in terms of keeping his cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you number 3 because I don't think you're going to get it based on your previous guesses.
Oh.
Last week, Chelsie was 3rd place. This week, Chelsie again is in 3rd place.
Oh, okay. Yay for Chelsie, because it's so weird. I see like hate for her, and I'm like, why? She hasn't done much but just be very well positioned and maintained her position. Like I said last time I was on here, she's been playing really good defense of a protected position. She hasn't done anything like offensively, like game wise, or really like it's weird. I don't know. I see so much like people not liking Chelsie. I mean, other than I guess they use the outside stuff. Now that I think about it, I think it is stuff.
Yeah, it is very close. Cedric and Chelsie are like basically tied for 2nd place. Cedric has a small edge over Chelsie.
They said because she's been hating on Cam and Leah. Oh, I'm sorry, I hate on them too. So that to me,
like,
that says nothing to me. Like, no, sorry,
all right. I want you to guess who is in last place.
Kenny's gone. So, and we love Angela. We're not Facebook.
Is it Quinn? Do people not like him?
Will he fall that far for our audience?
Or is it Cam? Or no, Cam. Leah.
I think they're
or
like
MJ.
Too.
No, I don't know. I don't really.
I'm gonna go Cam. I'm gonna go Cam.
I don't dislike MJ.
I want you to lock in, Melissa.
Okay. I think people lately, I've been seeing people not liking Leah lately. So I'll just say Leah, but I don't dislike Leah. So I'll just say Leah.
Last week, after Kenny, Cam was the lowest. This week, Leah beat him.
Yeah.
Leah at the bottom.
It was close. Leah
closely followed by Cam.
Leah, man, like again, I came out. I was like, oh man, maybe Leah's family was right. She is playing this this game really great, and then like just nosedive, man.
I know. I had like really high hopes for her at first. I was like watching every feed camera she was on. I was very excited about her. And then like I just feel like she just kind of fell off. I don't know. She's just not really playing that well and isn't really playing an interesting game. And I don't know. I just haven't been really enjoying her gameplay. So that's been a little disappointing because I really thought that like she had it. So yeah, I think she started to like lose it for me when she was just kind of like interested in the guys and was like doing that whole like
She's very
thing.
distracted.
Yeah, it was like it was very distracted and it wasn't it just made it seem like her head wasn't in the game and I was kind of like, oh, okay, like she actually doesn't really care about the game. And it just it's not for me. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't hate her, but I wish she was more interested in playing the game.
Well, it's a pretty distinct bottom three with MJ, Cam, and Leah. MJ with a bit of a lead over those two, but a big drop to get to those bottom three. This is the order. T-Core, top spot, followed by Cedric, then Chelsie. Number 4 is Tucker, who has gone up from, I think, 7th place. Then Kimo, who has fallen from 4th place. Down to 5th place. Then Brooklyn, who has fallen from 2nd place all the way down to 6th place. Probably because of the moon stuff. I don't know. Also, like, Brooklyn is the one that brought it up, but like at least 4 of them agreed. I don't know why Brooklyn is
That's
like
a popular like conspiracy theory these days. And like it's the dumbest thing ever, but like it's very popular.
Exactly. At least
like,
it's not something else. So like
yeah,
I'm fine with it.
I don't know. Like I know people who think that and it is very strange to me. But I feel like it's one of those things that's like popular to like to say that you believe that or like, oh, I don't believe that we landed on the moon. It's like the dumbest thing ever, but I've heard that around and so I'm not surprised. But
it's not the worst conspiracy theory to believe in. So like I don't believe it, but I'm still cool with her. Like
I do feel like it leads to weird directions. Like it leads to other conspiracy
If somebody
theories.
tells me they don't believe in the moon landing, I'm gonna be like, what else do you not believe?
Right, exactly. That's the thing. It's like it's the gateway conspiracy theory. It's like you start there and then you end up in like 9/11 was an inside job or whatever. Like jet fuel can't melt steel beams or whatever.
Exactly.
So like, I just feel like it's the gateway. It's the marijuana of conspiracy theories.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So don't love that, but whatever.
After Brooklyn, it's Angela. They're in competition.
They're right there, neck and neck.
Brooklyn is in the lead right now.
Oh boy.
After Angela, Joseph, who's still hovering around the same spot as last time. After Joseph, Quinn, who has fallen from 6th previously down to 9th? 1, 2, 3, 6, maybe 10th. After Quinn, it's Rubina. I don't know why Rubina is so low, to be honest. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's kind of and she was high up there.
Especially with Tucker so high. I figured Rubina would go up with him at the very least, but yeah, that's a little surprising.
At this point, I think it's just everything's so spread out. Just spread out.
Yeah. Maybe all the Rubina people are just picking Tucker.
Right. That's what I was about to say. They don't have a core audience.
Though.
They don't have a core diehard fan base. Maybe. I don't know.
But then it's the bottom 3, MJ, Cam, and Leah. All right.
I think that Joseph, I think he's gonna end up being a good. I don't know how to like describe this, but I feel like Joseph has something, and I feel like we're all gonna be like by the end of the season, like this guy. We thought he was a nobody. We thought he wasn't good, but he actually like he's got it. And I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I feel it. So, you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but we'll see.
No, I do agree with you. I think he has potential. I think right now it's unrealized. But I think I think you're right. There's something there that could activate later.
Right.
Yeah.
Or he could just like it's like
Right.
what was it? Like Tina and Big Brother Canada or whatever, where it was
Oh.
like where it was like
Oh.
we were like, she's got it, and then it just, she just like
Man,
left the
Tina.
house.
Yeah,
the person I'm thinking
maybe
of?
like not the
Yeah.
same, but maybe similar to like a Mimi, where it's like Mimi was in a really good position, but never
Mhm.
capitalized on it. Whereas I think Joseph is almost the opposite, where like I feel like he's capable of capitalizing on a good position, but he can't find himself in one.
Mhm.
And so we could have ultimately like a similar result where like not that like because Mimi's issue is that she never got active enough. And I think Joseph's issue might be that he just never gets socially good enough.
Yeah.
We'll see
It
though. I think there's a chance.
But
Yeah.
it's so funny because to me, he's so like his type of like charisma like connects to me as an audience member. Like just I thought I would not like him with his porn stash and all of that, but he had me at running in his montage and then like
Mhm.
trying to catch his breath. Like he has this class clown thing about him, calling out Chinbot. His DRs are so funny that it reminds me very much of like Napoleon Dynamite. So like I and then him thinking he's the star of the show, like on the feeds and stuff like that. He's so hilarious to me, but I think it's unintentionally. Like he's
He
like unintentionally hilarious.
I think he dulls the edge of his like occasional arrogance with like self-deprecation,
Mhm.
which
Mm.
helps him a lot. And I think that's probably where Quinn falters a bit. You could probably use a little bit more of that self-deprecation. But
I feel like Quinn is like playing that up though. Like I don't feel like he
I
actually
agree.
is. Like I think he's like trying to be like the Dr. Will type where it's like, "Oh, like everything I do is amazing and blah blah blah," and like having this whole persona.
Joseph
Like
does that too, but
yeah, but I mean
yeah,
like
yeah.
for Quinn in particular, like I feel like he doesn't actually I don't think he's actually super arrogant. I think he's like I want to be the type of player that like is arrogant and is
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I'm a great player because people
like
I
like to
agree.
watch you like own your stuff or whatever.
yes. I
Mhm.
like we watched
Very
Anthony
meta.
Douglas on Big Brother Canada 12. And I think we all recognize that Anthony was a player who amplifies his natural personality to
Mhm.
play this like very arrogant character on the show. I think that part of what I think people don't like about Quinn is that it feels like Quinn is almost inventing that personality
Mm.
for himself,
Mhm.
because it's what he has seen on the show before and wants to, like, replicate it, if that makes sense. Um, that it doesn't feel natural enough to him, and I think that, again, like, I think what people are looking for is authenticity, and they wanna see people like, feel uh, like this is an extension of who you actually are. And I think that you do feel like you're seeing an extension of Joseph, but I think that for Quinn, it sometimes goes beyond. It crosses that line into inauthentic sometimes for people, and I think that's part of the problem.
I
Um,
totally agree.
Yeah, that
Because
makes sense.
I think like there's a difference between like owning your moves in the DR and like being fake about it. Yeah, like I think you don't necessarily have to be like super arrogant in the DR in order to like own your moves. Like I think there's a difference between being like, yeah, I did do that. Yeah, I did try and cause drama versus like I'm the drama causer. Like I just feel like it feels so fake. So I would
Mhm.
much prefer someone to just be like, yeah, like I did do this because I'm trying to play the game versus, but I'm sure like production also probably like wants you to be more amplified. So who knows?
And I'm pretty sure it's not what we all expected from Quinn coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's what's going on. Because when I saw his cast pick, I was like, okay, soft nerd, yes. Gonna be like in the background. Like I was thinking like Michael Bruner. Like that's what I was thinking Quinn was gonna give us. Like quiet type comp beast, like being able to connect with people.
Yeah, I thought
And
that too.
and I think that's what we were initially getting week 1, but all of a
Mhm.
sudden,
yeah,
like, it like everything just started ramping up.
If I sit in my armchair psychologist chair for a second and start wildly speculating, I think that what we saw from Quinn in the first week or so was more of the genuine Quinn. I think he has like a quiet confidence to him. He like rocks this like unique look, and makes it work for him, and he like, it's like he has that, and I think that's what drew a lot of people to want to work with him, that he just had that kind of, like, effortlessly cool feel to him. I think that's, like, probably a huge part of who he is. My guess would be that when things started to crumble around him, he got into kind of a hyper defense mode. Like, when he gets called out by Tucker, and even previous to that, when he gets called out by Angela,
Angela.
um he started to go into like being more of a character, because it's hard to be attacked when you're being yourself. It's a lot easier. That's why we often see like the I've got to be the bad guy, or like people start to develop
Not
like these
that.
larger than life personalities in response to high stress,
Right.
because it helps them cope with it. And I think
Yeah.
that that's what's happening with Quinn. That would be my guess, is that he's leaning more and more heavily into this role in order to cope with like the position he has been put in, or put himself into. And I think that that's probably why, that would be my guess as to why we're kind of like seeing more of this side of him as opposed to the early portion of the game.
I completely agree with that, and I think America choosing him to be on the block
Right.
also, like, he is probably not dealing with that well on the inside, but you could tell beforehand he was trying to justify it all sorts of ways. And I mean, he's right. I don't like. I mean, I knew he was getting the votes. For me, it would make sense that he would get the votes because people want the drama, not necessarily because they hate him. But it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you said, he's making this character so that it's easy to be a villain and to protect himself. And then so you're getting a portion of the audience who is starting to not like him. So it kind of sucks, but he's playing the hand that he dealt himself, and the way that this cast is set up, he should be able to maneuver out of it. Not only that, not only how like lax the cast is playing and the current position that he's in, but also he would have two chances to save himself with his AI twist, and unless another twist is going to be announced tomorrow, so I
Who
don't know how
knows?
that works, but yeah, but you know what I'm saying, like this season has been so enjoyable to watch because I think it's just interesting to see how everybody is maneuvering things differently, and the mechanics of the game has been pretty enjoyable. Now the fact that we've had the same person win like 3 comps in a row, now I'm starting to look at the comp side eye again, like, oh god, not this. But I I still have confidence in him. But I'm really loving everything we're seeing, like villains, pre-villains, no villains, people who think they're good guys that aren't good guys. It's amazing. The star of the show, Joseph. It's all been so fun to watch.
Also, like, it feels like a lifetime ago, but like at the start of the season when Quinn and Leah were like all like hanging out and like really good friends and like kind of like flirting a little bit, like that was so fun to watch. And then I feel like that was so long ago. I can't even imagine like that being a thing or happening. Like
Yeah.
it's just so bizarre how like things can change like so fast. I don't know. Very strange.
Well, I asked the audience to rate the episodes this week. Last week they were a 6.1. This week a 6.0. Roughly the same.
Okay.
Which is, I think, disappointing, because last week
Mhm.
we were anticipating this veto episode was going to be massive. And I think that ultimately, like, it just didn't quite. I think it worked, especially for people that didn't realize how much more potential it had. But ultimately, clearly, at least from our audience's perspective, it just didn't quite land memorably enough to last into the like what were the last 2 episodes we watched thing. And then last night's episode was maybe not the best. But to be fair, for comparison, last season, week 4 episodes were given a 6.2. So it's fairly average, at least in terms of recent 2 seasons. And I'm not going to go and look at every single one this time because it takes me too long. So I also asked the audience to rate the feeds this week. Last week, they were a 7.9. This week, 6.3.
They've not been great this week.
Yeah.
They've not been that exciting or fun. Not
because-
that much going on.
Yeah, because last week they knew Quinn was going to take over this HOH, so all of the maneuvering kind of was done.
Yeah, it just didn't matter too. It was like,
yeah,
I don't know. I just felt like it only mattered what Quinn was going to do, and it didn't really matter like to campaign to the HOH or anything.
Listen, I love Tico and Kimo as people, but I'm going to lay this at their feet. I think they are responsible because they are in the position right now to be doing the things that should be making the feeds exciting by talking to Quinn finally, perhaps, or orchestrating a vote flip against Cedric if Rubina's up against him. Like stuff like that should be what's making the feeds exciting right now. And their hesitancy, I think, has made things a little boring, sometimes frustrating. Now they may come and save us in the 4th quarter, but I think that's definitely part of the issue here.
Where does the hesitancy come from? Is it from Kimo or is it from T-Core? Like, or is it just the two of them like saying maybe we should do this and then just not really doing it, or is it like one of them being like, let's not? Like, I don't know.
I think it's honestly both of them. I think that they reinforce each other's hesitancy. I think that T-Core she said it herself. She's very non-confrontational. She doesn't like confrontation. And Kimo is like a very kind of passive player naturally to begin with, I think. And so I think together they make themselves more passive than they would be individually because they get to talk to each other and vent all of their strategic thoughts to each other. And then
it just disappears.
And then that's it,
just
right?
like
they don't have to spend that energy anywhere else. And so it's frustrating. I'm hoping that it shifts because do they tease it. They talk about it a lot. But we'll have to see if anything shakes them out of it.
Yeah, and they both recognize the position that they're in and being like in the middle, and I don't think they want to really I don't think they really want to like sacrifice that positioning when they are not sure which side they want to go to. And not to mention that one side is obliterated because Tucker made such a big bold move that solidified the other side. It's just kind of like, can we really do this right now when Tucker's over here doing all of this and distracting, and now we got to worry about him. So I don't like their hesitancy. I agree, but again, it's like everybody's playing defense this year, and when you have such a set like boot list with that you have now, with it being this early, plus that additional AI arena is making people even more hesitant for who they want to target and stuff like that. It's the gameplay is stagnant right now. So we'll see what they throw at them, and if this new twist will either shake things up, which production always thinks it's going to do, or will it just like condense everything back like even more, make people even more scared. So we'll see.
For reference, last season the week 4 feeds were given an 8.4.
Wow,
very good feeds last season. Even though the episodes
bad. What was this? The flip? Not the flip yet? No.
This
HOH?
was let's see. This was Cameron's HOH.
His first one?
Where they evicted Jag.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so I asked the audience to rate the season as a whole so far. Last week it was a 7.1. This week a 7.0 compared to last season's 8.0. So Bit of a step down, but still, I think pretty good overall for a season of Big Brother. I also asked the audience to rate Quinn's HOH reign. Cedric's HOH reign was given a 5.0. Cam's HOH reign last season was given a 2.8.
Well, nobody went home, so
Quinn's HOH reign splits the difference. It's a 3.9. 3.9.
that's a little high for me because both his targets are staying. He can't get either of the two people that he's targeted out, and the person that he might get out is like meh. Like a Makensy is a meh. Rubina might. That's a meh too, but it might be better for him to get Rubina out over Makensy, and he doesn't even see that yet. So, 3.9 is very generous.
It was actually exactly halfway between Cam's and Cedric's. That's what I also asked the audience to rate the AI arena twist. Last week, it was a 6.0. This week, down to a 5.8. Audience is liking it slightly less than last week. Maybe because they've realized that it does kind of just grant invincibility to a player like Tucker, at least in the short term. The upgrade downgrade twist last week was a 4.9. It was part of the cause of all the chaos. This week, down to a 4.2, as we're now living in the results of the power. So,
and it's so sad because corny or not, like how this deep fake HOH is supposed to work is kind of cool. If it truly had stayed a surprise, this could have been like really good TV. It sucks like they cannot get a surprise HOH or an invisible HOH to work like at all.
I do hear that, and I do agree. However, if I had to choose between what happened last week and like a fun moment for television where they're surprised, I think I would choose last week. Granted, last week comes with the boring week of this week. But I think I still would prefer like the attempted assassination of Quinn. You know what I mean? Like, because of his power. Rather than like, I do agree. It would have made for a fun moment where they were like totally shocked. But then very quickly they would have been like, oh, that wasn't really Angela. We're dealing with this in our hands, you know?
Yeah. And then, but last week isn't guaranteed. Like the only reason why we got last week is because of unstable person like Tucker is in the house.
Yeah,
like,
I do agree. I do agree.
So,
okay, finally, who do you want to be evicted this week? I did include Tucker because I made this survey prior to him using the veto on himself. I was very convinced that he would. But just in case, I figured why not? Let's see if people do want Tucker to leave. At the top of this vote, with a plurality, 44%, MJ is the preferred evictee. Then tied at 20%, Rubina and Cedric. And then at 16%, Tucker.
Which could be because he had already used the veto on himself and people were like, well, he's not going to go home.
At that point, they may not have voted Tucker, yes.
Right. So it's hard to tell, but yeah. I mean, I guess I would agree with that mainly because MJ is like not really doing much. But yeah, I don't really want any of them to leave. So I don't know. I'd be okay if they stayed.
My thing is, it's one of those things. It's Big Brother, you know, it gives and it takes. And sometimes you have to choose which way you want to go. And for me, the most exciting result of this week is if T-Core and Kimo lead a rebellion against the collective and they take out Cedric. But what I have to pay for that is I have to lose Cedric. And I do like Cedric.
Which I wouldn't like.
You know? So it's like, listen, I guess I can't lose, but I also can't really win. So I'm like, you know, like either, like I'll take what I get either way and I'll be happy with it. But you know, I feel like I kind of have to root for the power shift because I feel like long term that's probably better. But
maybe it'd be interesting to have them like try and lead a rebellion to get Cedric out and then they get outed and it fails and then there's two sides.
And
then Cedric stays.
I will say as
I
much
love
as I do like,
Kimo. Don't do that.
yeah, as much as I do like Cedric, he did do this to himself.
He
So
did.
you
He
know what? He
volunteered.
volunteered, so it's like, you know what?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
If you volunteer,
yeah.
I don't know. Don't love it.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I think this is the situation where I was like, I wish it was Cam on the block, instead of Cedric, because if it was Cam on the block, I'd be like, flip, flip, flip. You know? But Cedric, it doesn't, like, everybody's like, oh, T-Core and Kimo, why won't y'all take out Cedric? T-Core has such a close relationship with Cedric. To me, it doesn't make sense for her to take him out. I feel like out of the Chelsie, Cam, Cedric, for her, she's closer to it's Cedric, Chelsie, and then Cam. You know what I'm saying? So like, it correct me if I'm wrong,
Lose
Karen.
Rubina
I think
though would
be even
suck.
worse.
Yeah.
That's why we just have to scratch it and it be at MJ, because
Right. I think this is like certainly in the result that MJ wins the AI, I think is primarily what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Hopefully, if she doesn't, then MJ goes, and
that's the easy way. Yeah.
It's the easy. It's literally the equivalent of Kenny going last. We're like just trying to get rid of all of the fodder until it's like people are forced to come at each other.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, are we ready then to rate the players?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do it. This is, of course, the portion of the podcast where we rate the players. Is this the one or is this the one? I don't know. This is the one. We rate the players based on how well we think they are doing in the game. I don't know why it looks weird to me right now, but it's probably fine. So from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, either just straight up no chance to win, or maybe they've just done something really bad. 10 being they're basically Dan Giesling here, and they're doing really well. But listen, there's any criteria you want to use. I like to go like long-term positioning, short-term safety. How did they play this week? Stuff like that. But ultimately, you get to do what you want to do. So let me see if oh, nope, that doesn't really do much. So listen, I had an idea this week. I thought, we got a little bit of a back and forth last week. I thought it was kind of fun. And I remembered, somewhere along the line, we just started taking turns talking about a player. I thought it might be a little more fun. What if we just opened up discussion? Survivor jury, new era jury question stuff. Yeah. Where let's just have a discussion, maybe even an argument about a player, and then we'll just give our numbers at the end, all together, and then that might be a little more fun.
I like it.
So with that in mind, let's open up the discussion on Angela, who is safe this week. And look, who's targeting Angela anytime? Probably a lot of people, but she's safe this week.
Can she get HOH next week? Like, is she not eligible for HOH? That is so dumb.
It's messed up. But it's so funny because yes, people might be targeting Angela, but the most hilarious thing is that the number one person targeting Angela is the most likely to go out this week, which is MJ. So Angela has absolutely no power. She can't play next week, and I don't even know if she knows it, but her biggest direct threat is like 75% going out the door, depending on the AI arena. Like, that is her power. Like, everybody that Angela wants gone goes. No,
but I do feel like she's an easy person to just put up on the block. Like, I think that
she is,
and an easy person to be like, well, let's just get her out because whatever. Like, we don't want to get out these other people or whatever. And so I could see a situation where like she's just a constant pawn, and then eventually that's gonna come back to bite her. It could be this week or whatever, and she could go out just because it's like, well, she's not really involved in anything. It doesn't really like hurt anyone for her to go. So that makes me nervous for her. And the fact that she, I think that if her and Tucker and like a few of the other people who are kind of don't really have anyone can like join up And, I mean, her and Tucker are like the comp beasts of this season so far. So if they could just join up, like, I really do think it could go well for them. And I know that they're kind of like, they're having discussions together, but I don't know if it's like legit, like that they actually are going to work together. But yeah, I think there's a chance for her to do well and to actually move forward. But I don't, it's so iffy. I don't know. It's hard.
I mean, I love that she won a comp here. I think that winning a second competition is great for her long term. Short term, it's such a dangerous spot to be. She's such an easy target for basically the entire house, because taking out Angela is a perfect way for everybody in the house to use their HOH to do something without pissing off half the house, because nobody's looking out for Angela. In addition to that, she's also a really good backup target to Tucker. If somebody tries to target Tucker and he wins a veto or an AI arena competition, oh, well, Angela's the backup. That's what would have happened this week if she hadn't won that HOH competition. And so I think she needs the game to break open. I think it's starting to get there. I think we're approaching a game-breaking open moment, but it might not be for a week or two, and that's not time that she's going to feel very comfortable. So I'm definitely, I think short term, it's not looking great, and long term, it's never looked super great, but there's some hope, I think.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. The last time when they did a booth competition, like Chelsea's booth competition, Angela, she was the outgoing HOH, so she didn't get to participate. Angela was really good at the last HOH. And
spotting, what was it?
Spotting the differences.
Beagles, and they were bugles.
Bugles, yeah. Yeah. She might, it looks like she might be really good at booth comps. She might be like Bowie Jane. Like she might get some of these Bowie Jane like HOH wins if she can stay in long enough. So
call her Angela Jane.
Yeah, Angela. It's so funny. Her position is so precarious, but also I could definitely see her being dragged to the end, and and like it be an easy go position if she just gets past. It's like if she just gets past like a certain spot, she might be like prime candidate to be dragged to the end, and then nobody vote for her because she still rubbed people the wrong way. I don't know. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very entertaining position too. So I like Angela. I'm a fan of Angela.
All right. Well, listen, I gave her another 3. I feel like she went up in some ways, down in other ways, and back at a 3 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with the 3, honestly, because I think like it really could go either way. The fact that she can't win HOH next week is not good. Like, I mean, if she had the opportunity, like she didn't even get out someone that, I mean, potentially MJ is going to go out. And so like, that would be good for her. But like, she wasn't able to do her own HOH this week. And instead it just was like immunity a little bit, but now it's also a punishment because now she can't be HOH next week. So I feel like that's not great for her. So I think it's like, she's in a tricky spot, but I do think that like with Tucker kind of seemingly coming to a realization that people are kind of against him and that he is kind of on his own, or that there was a possibility that he could have gone last week had he not won the AI competition. I do think that like, he might be more willing to actually work with her and maybe something could form. And like Taran said, like the game might break open. I don't know, but I don't want to give her too high of a rating, but I do think like a 3 is probably where she is right now, but it could change.
I think she might be the most likely person to leave next week. I think like
I mean,
her, Tucker, and maybe Quinn are like the top targets, top potential targets right now, I think.
Yeah. Yes, but also I do like that she saved herself this week. She has a chance to squeak by with Tucker being such that big a target. If he doesn't win every comp, it's him. You know what I'm saying?
I think AI Arena is huge. If AI Arena goes away, her chances of staying go way up. If AI Arena sticks around, I think she's in way more danger.
Gotcha. Yeah, there was something else I wanted to say about her reign, but I like Oh, yeah, because okay, say MJ doesn't go home and Rubina goes home, that's also a good person going for home for her because Rubina's kind of been like her person she's been like doing sneak disses on ever since Lisa left. Like, and if Rubina's gone, Tucker pulls in closer to her and to Angela. So honestly, this is a win-win situation for Angela. Either MJ or Rubina going is actually very win-win for her. And again, she didn't have to do anything. It's almost like a typical HOH reign where her top target or a top person that her biggest threat goes home and she can't play next week. Like it's the same positioning. So I'm gonna give her a 4. I'm gonna give her a 4 because I think that and she started to be included in stuff now. Like she almost cried because they started pranking her. She was like, "Oh my god, they're noticing me now." So like, I don't know. I think she's crawling in there. If she can, like Taran said, she just needs like 1 to 2 more weeks, and then she might be able to like really get in there. And that would be. I just like that she's pissing off everybody on Facebook. I'm sorry, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, the audience agrees with you, Mari. They also gave Angela a 4, so she is going to sneak up to a 4 there in the
Yes.
ratings.
Military crown.
Look at Mari.
Mhm.
All right, let's then talk about Brooklyn because last week Brooklyn and Chelsie were the 2 highest rated players. I'll say straight up, I pretty much feel the same way this week. I still feel like they're 2 of the best position players. I don't know that they've fully managed to capitalize on their position yet. I think that this is
Yeah.
like a slightly more tenuous position than it was last week. They're not in quite as strong a lead as they were before. But I do still really like where Brooklyn is, especially Brooklyn actually for me this week because she is in this 5 points group. Tucker had some doubts, but she very much has the support of Kimo, T-Core, and Rubina all sticking up for her, all making sure that Tucker doesn't go off the deep end on Brooklyn like he did on Quinn, which they shouldn't be because they all know, except for Rubina, I guess, that she's in the Pentagon. But I get their reluctance because Tucker really he just goes off. But like her connection there is very good. And we found out that she has the Quinn loyalty, the loyalty of he ranked her at the top of his final 2s. I don't know how valuable that is, given Quinn's station in the game right now, but he is still very well connected, and that's a very good thing. He could start spilling tons of information, especially if he's on the block, and the fact that he values Brooklyn means that she might stay clear of that. So definitely still really like where Brooklyn's at. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too, but the way that she confronts Angela just for getting picked twice on that game really made me stop and think, I wonder how she's going to be in adversity because she's been in such a really good position from the start. I really wonder what would happen like once if I'm trying to it's kind of hard. There's nobody on the board that looks like they would honestly come after her, but
Well,
say
Angela.
like oh yeah. Forgot about Angela that quickly. But yeah, like if her back is on the rope, I'm really interested to see how she reacts because even with Kenny last week, she got a little confrontational with Kenny last week, which I loved. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she handled it well, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really starting to think like it she keeps getting upset when like just Kenny mentioning that she might be at the top of a girls alliance, Angela picking her twice. What happens when somebody like really comes for her? Like how is she gonna react? So that's my only thing that I'm wondering, but that's for future Brooklyn to worry about. Right now Brooklyn is in a prime position, and and the main person coming after her can't win HOH next week.
Right as Melissa was about to talk.
I was about to talk.
The dogs agree.
Basically, well, I was going to say that like I agree with Mari on that, and I also think like another future Brooklyn problem is that because she's in with so many groups and because she's being included in so many alliances, like if the game does like break open, like we were saying it might, like she's gonna have to either like pick a side or like sneakily not pick a side, and that might be very tricky for her. And I don't know how that's gonna play out, especially if it's like oh, I've got to like vote someone out that's like supposedly like in my alliance, and it just, yeah. So agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
that I agree, but I think that like the strength of the position is that if the game does break open, she can just pick the winning side. Now the problem there is, does she have the positioning on either side to still have like a thorough end game plan? I think she has a much better one on the collective Pentagon side than she does on the 5-point side. 5-point side is also not quite as solid in general and not as likely to start running away with it. And she does still have some legs there too. So I do agree though. I do wonder, and that's always been the thing for me about Brooklyn. It's like, is she more than just good positioning? Does she have like the ability to actually lock in an end game and handle confrontation if she is confronted? Like, I think that those are questions that are still unanswered for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think at this point, I think I would still keep her at a 7. I think like we have all these concerns for the future, but I feel like to be like, well, these concerns could be problematic, so I'm going to like rate her lower. Like, just we haven't seen these yet really. And so I feel like it could play out like next week could be a totally different rating. But at this point, yeah, I would keep her at a 7 just because I do think she's in one of the best positions in the house. And at this point, that's really all we can go off of because she hasn't really been confronted in like in a bad situation. Like we haven't had to see her do the strategy. And so all we have to go off of is the fact that she's in a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to tank her, but it just doesn't make sense. She's doing great. 7.
The audience agrees. I agree. It's going to be straight 7s again. I'll say this though. I do think this could be the last Brooklyn 7 for me. I feel like I really want to see some locking in.
Yeah.
I think the gap between her and the rest of the house is closing. Like if again, I watched a lot of Olympics and I watched the running. It's like her and Chelsie have been in the lead, but like that pack behind them is closing in right now. That's how I feel. All right, let's talk about Cam. How do we feel about Cam?
What is he there? Like what is he
know.
doing? How does he spend his day? Because when I watch the feeds, I don't watch it for Cam. And when he's on those feeds with Leah, I definitely don't watch those feeds. So I truly don't know what he's doing other than just like kind of broing down with Tucker. And I think it's so funny that he still has this core positioning with like CCC, like that positioning when he barely even hangs out with them or talk to them. You know what I'm saying? It's so funny. And then in the episode, you tip off Tucker like, oh, you probably need to get off the block. But then in the same breath, in the HOH, you pick him, for him to go up. Like, Cam, what are you doing? Huh?
I mean,
Are you playing the game? Or
Yeah,
is it summer camp for you?
I feel like he wasted a bunch of social capital that he didn't even have to spend trying to stay good with Tucker after the blow up last week so that he could maintain this like both sides position, and then immediately blew all of it by failing to act correctly, like happy for Tucker after he won the AI arena competition. And so now he's just like chilling in this space where Tucker doesn't. I mean, granted, I think Tucker does want to work with Cam if Cam would give him anything at this point. But Cam is unable to pretend enough for Tucker to believe him. And at the same time, he has basically no positioning within the Pentagon and the collective. He's just kind of being dragged along. And at some point, I think once Tucker leaves, Cam starts to get into some danger. But honestly, until Tucker leaves, I think he's kind of good. I think he's kind of fine. Not a lot of people looking at Cam. Like Tucker wants to go after Quinn and Cedric and Cam. Actually, right now he wants to go after Quinn, Leah, and Cam. So maybe he's not quite as good.
Yeah, I'm always hoping that Cam is the one that gets sniped. Like people are trying to take her shot at Cedric, but Cam is the one that ends up with the bullet. Like that's the only thing I'm hoping for Cam. He's a shield for Cedric and Chelsie and the rest of the Pentagon, or from each other. Like that's all I really want from him. Drag him along till he takes the bullet and then he can go. Because he gives me nothing. It's not even a go girl, give me nothing. It's literally just a nothing. And he seems like a very nice guy, but I I cannot take him and Leah on the feeds together. I cannot do it. It is the most annoying thing to me. They argue about the same things over and over again in such a circular pattern that I'm like, how are y'all doing this? Oh, right. Y'all don't have anything else to do in the house. Like I could not do it. I could not do it. Cam does nothing for me. I'm gonna give him a 2. Okay, wait, hold up. Okay, wait. His positioning. Okay, let me try and be objective. His positioning is still good.
You should just do it.
No, I'll give him a 3. I'll give him a 3. I'll be nice. I'll give him a 3.
Yeah, I have trouble with Cam just because like I really don't know anything about him. I feel like I've watched feeds and I like haven't watched anything with him on it, or like the only time he's like on the feeds, he's like not saying anything and just like sitting in that room and just watching like a confrontation or watching other people talk. But I never really hear like anything from him. So I really don't know like what the deal is there. It's hard for me to rate him. I guess I think I would give him like probably a 4 just because right now he's okay, but I don't know what it's going to be next week. I do think that he kind of soured things with Tucker. And that's not great for him if Tucker wins, but you know, he is in a decent spot positioning wise. I just don't know if he can do anything with it. So yeah, it's a 4 for now, but that could go down.
Yeah, I mean, I feel fairly similarly about him this week as I did last week, and so I also gave him a 4, as did the audience. They also gave him a 4. So there you go. That is Cam. I'll lead off with Cedric from the audience. The audience gave Cedric a 4 this week, down from his 5 last week.
Yeah, well, he went and volunteered to go on the block and could be going home this week.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yes, he's got an alliance to like back him up, but that's just so bad. Like, I mean, the odds that he goes home are definitely, I mean, they're increased because he is on the block. So yeah, I would have to, I would give him, I think I kind of want to give him a 3, honestly, because he's doing that, but he's got his alliance. So I'll give him a 4, but yeah, he volunteered to go on the block. He could be going home this week. It's not great.
Yeah. The good thing that what Cedric has going for him is Tucker's like obvious frustration, and the obvious target for Cedric is making Cedric's allies condense around him and be like, yes, I want to save you. The bad thing that he has going for him is that he volunteered to be on the block, and now it's like and you volunteered to be on the block so that you could beat Tucker, and then you failed miserably at that because Tucker beat you in the veto. So now you're stuck on the block and you have to go in the AI arena. So what did we learn from this? Don't stop volunteering for the block. But other than that, though, Cedric still has the strongest bonds. He even still has his strong bond with Angela, you know, which is funny because she's like, oh, he put me on the block. So I have no problem putting him up on the block. But the moment he's like, you know, asking about her, if she'll break the tie for him, she says she will. And they've always had a pretty close relationship. And so it's like, I still think that Cedric is definitely positioned way better than Cam is within the 3. Again, people are looking at him, they are checking for him, but I think he's one of those people where it's like you can understand their threat level, but then on a personal level, you might be like, but I'll just save Cedric to the end because he seems to get along with a lot of people in that house. So I'm gonna give him a 4 as well because he's still on the block. He still has a chance to go home if something, you know, crazy really happens.
I gave him a 4 too.
Yeah, but I love Cedric so much. Oh my god.
Cedric is lucky he's not getting a 1 from me.
Whoa.
Listen to me here, okay? Because Cedric last week chose to go down a path which was protecting Quinn so that Quinn could protect him with his guaranteed HOH.
Oh, that is so
we are
true.
now sitting here in a world where Cedric might be going home this week. That is still a possibility. And if that happens, my rating must reflect the fact
Oh,
that Cedric
God.
left this week. Because it's a real possibility. It's
It
a
is, yeah.
genuinely real possibility, and it shouldn't be. There's no world where that should be a possibility. This is such of an unforced error, and he's getting a 2 from me. I mean, I just listen. It'll go back up if he survives, because surely he won't make this mistake again, right? But man, if he goes home,
Yeah.
it's not quite a Tucker move, but it's not that far off.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're
very
not wrong. He
unfortunate.
really
Yeah.
shouldn't be volunteering. It's so tricky because it's like he's just got all these people to back him up that but I mean there is a chance he goes home. So yeah, I don't know. It's God, you're making me want to go down to a 3 now. I don't know. Maybe I'll just split the difference. I'll go down to a 3.
Melissa goes down.
Sorry, Stocks. Sorry, Cedric Stocks.
Nope.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna stand beside him. I don't care.
I'm standing with him.
All right, let's talk about Chelsie then. I mean, I'll say again, I feel the same about Chelsie. I'd even immediately go and give her a 7 for now. And like, listen, this is the new format. We can change if we need to, according to the discussion. But like, I feel like she's relatively on par with Brooklyn in terms of positioning. I actually think Brooklyn has maybe gone a little bit ahead of her in terms of her connection to the 5 points, and everything else. That said, I think that Chelsie has more substantive individual relationships, especially on the Pentagon collective side. So I like them both for very different reasons. I think that Chelsea's in a very good spot. But similar to Brooklyn, it's like, will she hold on to this spot when things start shifting? And things could start shifting as soon as this week if somebody like Cedric leaves. And I think that if Cedric left, I think Chelsie hurts a bit more than Brooklyn at this time for that move. I don't think it will happen. I think Chelsea is in a fine spot. But again, similar to Brooklyn, I'm just a little bit worried about like where it goes from here. Is she able to capitalize on this position?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think I've been very impressed with Chelsie just because I do feel like she's in a good spot. She has good relationships with people, and she's not, I mean, like she's not putting herself out there in like a bad way with anyone. I think that I think I would give her a 7 too. I also don't really know that much about her. I don't think that she's going to be in danger next week. I mean, who knows? But at this point, I've been pretty impressed with her. As much as I've seen of her, I haven't really seen that much. So yeah, in terms of her positioning, I would give her a 7.
Yeah, and she is actively losing. Yeah, she's more than likely going to lose a pawn this week.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The willingness to lose MJ. Oh man.
Yes.
That makes me want to give her a 6. I don't like it.
Karen's compliment. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. She is okay with losing MJ. I think she did though. Wasn't she the one who brought up for a second, like getting rid of Rubina?
Yes.
Yeah. So she does.
I think she should push that.
Yeah. So maybe she, we'll see. Maybe she still is gonna go to work this week, but like, and maybe really consider the Rubina. But I mean, MJ is a piece that she has. You do want to keep all your pieces, but Chelsie is so high at the top. It's just kind of like everybody's her piece. So it's kind of, it's like, oh, well, 1 pawn down. I got so many to go. And I like that if Leah wins an HOH, then she doesn't really have to fear much, a Kimo, a T-Core, like they're not coming for her right now. Like they don't plan on coming for her. Quinn does. And you can tell like, Quinn keeps trying to prime all his allies. Oh, once we get here, we're aiming for the Pentagon, right? We're going to aim for the Pentagon. His allies, I don't know, are still very passive. So even if he's ready to aim at them, I don't know if they are. So I do really like Chelsea's positioning. Like honestly, she's doing really good in defending it. I really want to see her push, but she's just so well insulated that like there's not much she can push for except for stuff like this, like these proxy wars with Rubina and MJ. So we'll see. She brought it up. Maybe she'll think about it, and then honestly, maybe the choice will be taken away from her. Like that's the thing about the AI arena. But she didn't luck up. She's luck and skill got her to this position. You know what I'm saying? And she's using her skill to keep it, I think.
Yeah, I'll keep it at 7 because you're right.
Yeah,
I think she showed an interest in taking out Rubina over MJ, which means that I don't have to like be too hard on her for being that willing, because clearly she does see that that losing Rubina would probably be better for her. I think that she should push this. I think that this is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like use your positioning to lock in future value. She has the ability, if she pushed, to take out Rubina, keep MJ, and that would be very good for her. I think she should be using that influence instead of playing scared and being like, well, I don't want to push too hard and make people mad at me. Like, I think use it while you have it, and keep a hold of your pieces. That's how.
I'm still gonna blame the AI arena for this, because like the only reason why we got last week the overt strategy of like everybody being like, okay, we're gonna take out Tucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? If he loses it, we're gonna take out Tucker. One, because Tucker was so loud and bold about his like proclaiming who he was coming for. It was easy for people to be like, oh, see, Tucker saying he's coming for you. I got your back. You know, we'll take out Tucker if he's on the block. Plus, Quinn's guaranteed HOH. They felt empowered to be like, okay, I can say whatever I want to about who I'm going to get rid of, because I already know who the HOH is going to be, and they're my friend, so I don't got to worry about it. So I think it was almost freeing for them last week to be able to strategize a little bit more beforehand, before the vote. This week, there's no assurances like that. And I think they're going back to playing scared about the AI arena, because neither Rubina or Makensy have really made an overt claim or anything like that. They don't want to put anything out there for that person to stay, and then it comes back to them, and then they don't know who's gonna have power next week. So I truly think it's the twist again handicapping them, and we forgot that this twist kind of did that the first 2 weeks as well. It was just last week that it opened up a little bit, because the power was in play. Tucker blowing up the house like that was in play. This week we don't have any of that to kind of like propel us forward. So I think that's why it's again getting back to stagnant, but maybe that's just me.
All right.
7.
7. And it's going to be straight 7s once again for Chelsie. Melissa, why don't you start with Joseph?
Yeah.
You think he's got something?
I think he has something, but I don't know what that is yet. And so I feel like I want to give him a 5, because I feel like he's just right there for me. But I'm very interested in him, and I would like him to do stuff moving forward. And I hope that he becomes something. And I feel like I want to say like, watch this space, but this could be, he could be going up. So we'll see. But for now, 5.
Yeah, that was exactly where I was too. It was like, and I'm the same place where I was last week, where I said, if I had done this rating a couple days ago, I might have given him a 6, but then it goes back down to a 5, because just he's not able to latch in socially. It's just not happening. So yeah, I agree. It's a 5 for me too.
Yeah, it's so weird, like how he has all these like great schemes and ideas, and he's so vocal in this majority alliance, and he thinks he's the star of the show. He knows about the inner core of the alliance, the Pentagon, but it's just like he can't get the traction or the movement to capitalize on all of the information that he knows. So it's such a very funny and precarious situation that you loved it. Like I really want to see how this plays out. And I'm definitely going to give him a 5, because his positioning is pretty good. his sheer knowledge of everything that's going on, like the information wise, not how he applies that information, but like knowing kind of like where all the pieces are, it's very astounding that he knows everything. He applies it kind of weird in his head because he still thinks he's running things, but like the fact that I think he has the skill to capitalize on it later down in the future. I'm so excited to see what Joseph does. For some reason, like it's so weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about him, but I really want to see him like really do some work if he can.
Wow.
Wow, a 5.
The audience also gave him a 5, so there you go.
Wow, another 5.
All right. What about Kimo? Last
Kimo's
week a
tricky.
5.
He's tricky because I just don't know. Like I like him and I want him to do well, and I feel like he's got like Joseph. It's like there's something there, but I feel like he's not really using it. And I feel like this has been like talked to death of like him and T-Core, like they need to get out there, they need to make moves, and like maybe they will. But I'm worried that they're not going to do it soon enough, and they're just gonna miss, like the train's just gonna go by and they're just gonna miss it. And they won't be able to then like catch up to it. So I don't really know about Kimo. I mean, at this point, it seems like he's in a good spot. Like generally, like I don't feel like people are really targeting him. Maybe I'm wrong, but so I guess that's good. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
I feel like his positioning I like better than last week. It's just not
Because
really
of the 5 points.
because he did anything to make it happen, if that makes sense. And so, you know, I do like last week I gave him a 4, and I think that's primarily because I didn't like the position, but also because I was like putting fault on him and T-Core and some of the other players that like just actively didn't pursue the alliance, the actual underdog alliance that should have happened. But man, then I think about like all of the things that he's saying, but then it's like some of the things he's saying make me think, oh, this is not good. He does not have the right reads on this. But then in some ways, because he's not doing those things, that's a good thing. Right? Like he's not acting on any of the bad thoughts, but he's also not acting on any of the good thoughts.
Yeah.
But his position is improving overall because he's not just like by the sheer game moving, he's moving into a better position. So yeah.
Sounds like he's right in the middle there with the 5.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. The same for me, I think. I honestly think, yeah, like it could go either way next week, but at this point, yeah, 5. I
love Kimo. Him and T-Core are probably the only people that I'm like really rooting for. But other than that, I just enjoy watching the game progress. And I agree, there's so many things that they could be doing that's way more active. But I think they're doing just enough. You know what I'm saying? Right now, they're doing just enough. They have their spot in the collective. They know about the Pentagon. They have the 5 points. They are finding a way to balance between like keeping Tucker close and working with Quinn. The problem is they just don't push. They don't push. They could, we don't know, depending on how AI Arena shakes out, they could lose a valuable piece in Rubina. Like if MJ is like losing a pawn for Chelsie, like them losing Rubina is like losing their bishop. I don't know chess.
If he
like,
sits back and just lets Rubina leave, man, maybe I need to. If Rubina leaves this week, I'm tanking.
Yeah, they like she is a crucial piece for them. She's not a pawn. She is a crucial piece for them. So if Rubina leaves, it is not going to be good for their game because, like Melissa said, the train will be gone and they will have nobody else to turn against these people that they know are coming for them. And it's just way too passive. And they've already let the worst thing happen. And now it's just up to competitions, and that's never a good place to be. That's never a good place for your game.
It's like that style of gameplay. It's that style of gameplay that I hate, where it's like, oh, there's this big alliance and they're taking out all the people around us, but like
Yeah.
we're not the target, so we're
Mhm.
good. They're not targeting us, so let's just let it happen. And then it's like we'll turn on them eventually, and then it's like that eventually time comes, but they've already lost all the people who would work with them to turn on them, and then it's just they get taken out one by one. And I just like hate that style of gameplay, and I really hope it doesn't get to that point, but I'm worried that that's where this is headed.
Yeah, I changed my mind to a 4.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's no world where Rubina should be on the block this week.
Yeah. Mhm.
Kimo is literally Quinn's like #1 final 2 close ally. They should have such a heavy say in what Quinn does, and I think they would if they just said anything. But they haven't, and because of that, they've let Rubina on the block, and Rubina might not go home, and that's why I was like mostly fine with it, because I'm thinking, oh, she's probably fine. But like, she also could go home, and she should not be in that position. There was such an easy way out of this. I don't even think like the Leah stuff should have happened. I don't even think it needed to happen. If they just had a conversation, the conversation T-Core had with Cedric about, hey, Rubina is my hard line. Why couldn't they have that conversation with Quinn, an actual close ally of theirs who has told them a bunch of it? If they had said, Quinn, Rubina is our hard line. She's a number for us. We do not want her on the block. We do not want to risk her. I do think he would have gone in a different direction.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think that would have been the better play, because I just think they really, because I've been thinking about this all week, and because everybody's like, why don't T-Core and Kimo tell Quinn about Leah? I think they really just are stuck with the old information of like he really, really, really likes Leah, and you don't want to be that person that's like, dude, she's not that into you. You know what I'm saying? Like again, it's that kill the messenger style thing. It's like you don't want to be that person, and then you don't even know if they'll believe you. And if you don't like confrontation like T-Core and Kimo do, it's just like it's not worth it for them. But I agree with you. Like that's what they should have done. They should have just said Rubina as a hard line. If and then make him kind of come to the conclusion of who else he wanted to put up. But I don't get it, but I could see from a point of view of somebody who doesn't like confrontation, who has to tell somebody that from what they understood for the past 4 weeks is basically obsessed with this girl, that this girl has been going around talking about you behind your back. And it's like that they probably just got a lot of anxiety about that, because I don't think they knew how he would react to that. And that's not excusing it. I'm just saying I think that's where it was when you're dealing with like introverts and people who don't
like confrontation.
Yeah. But I think that was actually a better shout, Taran. Just be like, Rubina, don't do it. She's with us. Let's figure something else out.
Well, speaking of Leah, last week I gave her a 3. I will say I feel like there are 2 major points in Leah's favor this week. One, she's basically escaped the Quinn being thrown under the bus thing. I was really heavily anticipating that she would be thrown under the bus to Quinn, and that she'd be in danger this week, and that she would lose Quinn as an ally. I think we're getting to the point where the statute of limitations is going to be up. Like, eventually trying to rat her out to Quinn is not going to work as well, because it'll be too far in the past and it's not going to land as heavy. And Quinn is also not going to be HOH. There's going to be less reason to tell him. So I think she's gotten away clean with that. I think number 2, she's not as heavily associated with Cam anymore. Like, it's starting to dissipate a little bit. She may either lose MJ or not lose MJ. Either way, she keeps MJ as an ally. Or if MJ leaves, I think once again we start looking at, is Leah a number that we can actually pull in? If anything, I think her connection to Quinn might hurt her there. Overall, though, I just feel like I'm a little bit higher. I don't know. Are you guys feeling this way? Or you not with me here?
I mean, I don't like her, but I get her. I get what you're saying. Like, I think where she benefits is that Joseph has now started to pour into her, and I think Joseph. I meant to say this. Joseph is kind of, I think, also a reason why Kimo and T-Core aren't pushing, because wasn't Joseph the one who told them not to push too much about trying to protect Rubina, because then it can make them look like not as trustworthy. I believe Taran, was that Joseph who said that to them?
That was Joseph. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he kind of, by saying that, it's saved Leah, and him and Leah have been hanging out a lot more. He has made some missteps in trying to connect with her strategically, but if Makensy's gone, if her and Cam aren't seeing eye to eye, and she still wants to talk more trash about Quinn, then I could definitely see Joseph and Leah getting a little bit closer, and maybe with somebody who sees more of the game, like Joseph, then she might be able to worm her way somewhere. Now if Rubina goes, I could definitely see her trying to saddle up to Tucker, which would be so awkward and so weird. But I kind of see what you're saying. I think she is in a better position. Because all of her closest ties might be in jeopardy between her and Cam not being that close, MJ going. If MJ goes, that like it's like it'll be like a showman's going for her. Like she really might just be able to stay under the shots being fired overhead. So yeah, I don't like it, but I might have to give her a 4 because I think she no, I'm gonna give her 3.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I'm
She's still
not.
not that positioned that greatly. She positioned better than last week, but that's still not that good. So.
I think I agree. I just don't know that she's like, yeah, I don't have enough faith in her as a player.
Right.
And
there it is.
Also, Tucker wants to put her on the block.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
And if he does, next to Quinn and Cam, I think she leaves.
I think she's an easy out. Like, I think I don't see her like really playing the game. I just don't feel like she's got it in her. I don't know. I've been so disappointed because I really was rooting for her in the beginning, and now I just feel like it's like, okay, she's not really doing much. She can really go. It just seems like she just kind of wants to like live in the house and doesn't really care about the game. I mean, is she like in any alliances actually? Like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't hear her talking strategy at all. So for me, yeah, it's a 3 for me. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with the 3, and the audience does as well. There you go. Okay, what about MJ? She's in some trouble this week.
She's in trouble.
She's in trouble.
I can't say that like she's the like direct cause of this necessarily. Like I'm not gonna be like, well, she volunteered for the block and got herself voted out. Like it's weird that that's like the line, like the bottom line, but she's never really done anything to help her.
No. I think MJ is just like Lisa in a sense of like, this just isn't her cast. She just does not connect with these people. Was it Chelsie who was telling the story about whenever MJ is talking to somebody and they're near a mirror, like she stares at herself in the mirror while she's talking to the people. Like God. She just doesn't connect with these people. It's like you know what I'm saying? Like she just does not have things in common with these people. She does, and she says stuff like, I don't know if y'all catch, like she'll say stuff on the feeds that is just like, girl, it's like, oh my God, it's so hard for me being so pretty. People just don't understand how hard it is to be pretty. Oh my God. And it's just like, and everybody just gives her like, okay, MJ. Like she just doesn't gel with them. So
yeah.
Because of that, and because I don't want to say she doesn't try, because she thinks she has Chelsie in Brooklyn. I'm still trying to figure out why her and Leah don't like each other anymore. I'm so confused on what happened there. But like she just this just isn't her cast. It isn't, and she is going home unless she wins AI Arena. So I'm gonna give her a 2.
Yeah, I agree. I want to give her a 2 as well. I just feel like it's like she's an easy out. She just doesn't have anyone there. It's like, it's just it's too bad because she could be a really strong player, but I just feel like she just doesn't have any allies, and it's just the easy move this week to be like, yeah, let's just get her out if she stays on the block. So yeah, it's a 2 for me.
It's
Yeah,
so
she's
it's so interesting to watch her like talk to people just on a personal level. She just it seems really hard for them to connect with her.
yep. She's the most likely person to leave this week, I think.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that alone is not great for her rating. But
Mhm.
the audience disagrees. They gave her a 3. 2's from us,
Mm.
but a 3 from the audience. All right, let's do it. Let's talk about Quinn, the Deep
Hmm.
Fake HOH. Last week he squeezed by with a 4. Um, he is HOH this week. He can play in the
Mhm.
next week's HOH. But man, I know I've already talked about it, but like I just feel like he did not use this HOH to great value,
Mhm.
like on both ends,
Mm.
right?
He's not even getting
Mhm.
out like a target of his.
Didn't
No,
get a target out,
didn't get his
didn't
target
get
out.
information,
Nope.
Yeah.
didn't solidify any positioning.
Nope.
What was the point?
And he's in danger. Like, I mean, if Tucker wins or if anybody wins, like I just feel like he's in danger.
You in
So
danger, girl.
it's yeah, you in danger, girl. It's not good for him moving forward. Yeah, I'm just not. I don't know. I guess I would give him like a 3 probably.
Yeah.
Just because
I Yeah, I'm giving him a 3 because the only person I gave the 2 is definitely going out. It's really like he didn't get the Leah information. Like he's actually undermining the power structure that he does have by like talking about the future with people like T-Core and Kimo and being like, oh yeah, like I wanna strike at the Pentagon, or strike at the collective once we get to jury. It's like you're undermining what you already have in process here. And um I- it was just not a good HOH for it to be a non-secret secret HOH. Yeah, both yeah, both his targets are safe. That's wild. That is just
Mhm.
wild to me. This is so unfortunate for Quinn.
Yeah, well, the audience gave him a 4. And I will say I'm probably closer to giving him a 4 this week than I was last week. And that's mostly because as long as he can survive the onslaught of Tucker, I do think he still has legs in the game, especially on the Pentagon collective side of things.
Mhm.
Um, and man, it's just like gameplay this week, I just feel like was so yeah, I think I have to go with the 3 because here's the thing. I think that unlike some other players who are also not in great spots, I think that he's actively working against his own interests at the moment. I mean,
Mhm.
not like he should be targeting Tucker, but that's obvious.
Right. Mhm.
But like beyond that, I think that he should be nestling in with the collective in the Pentagon,
Mhm.
or like doing more work to get T-Core and Chemo back on board, or maybe both. Like whatever he's doing, it's not working at the moment,
Mhm.
and he's losing his grip on the numbers that he's banking on to strike at the group that's currently keeping him safe. So
Yes. That
it's a
that part.
little sketchy out there for Quinn. So we'll see. I feel like it could go up from here, but only if he survives. So all right, Rubina. Rubina's in a bit
Mm,
of danger here as well. She had a
Yeah.
5 last week. I think she's probably the second most likely person to leave.
yeah.
And that's if the vote doesn't flip on her to begin with. I think that MJ has a perfectly fine chance of winning the competition. She won
Mhm.
the power up in the first
Yep.
place.
Mhm. Mhm.
She's perfectly athletic enough to win anything that's athletic. I don't know. It doesn't look great.
It
Doesn't
doesn't.
look great.
And then the fact that she is she's getting all of the downsides of a showmance with not even none of the benefits. They didn't even like get to capitalize on their hot non-kiss. And every other day they're like, "Oh, we got to cool it down. We got to cool it." Like it sucks. And I really hate I truly I come on all these podcasts and I say I hate when like especially like women like Rubina always take the bullet for like the men. They end up getting sniped on accident because people are trying to come after somebody else. Like I truly hate that for her because I think her game was she was doing really pretty well, just like socially speaking. She was doing really well before this, and then all it took was her and Tucker like getting together, and her position plummets to the point where she could be walking out of the door, like, which a week ago I wouldn't have thought that she would have been the next one out. You know what I'm saying? So it's very unfortunate. I'm definitely hovering between a 2 and a 3 for her. Like I just don't know. And I think it has to be a 2 because her and Makensy basically have the same amount of like percentage of going home to me. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I'm gonna give her a 3 because I do feel like she has more allies than Makensy
She
has.
does.
Like,
That is
so I
true.
think that like if you had them both on the block, like I think like there could be a situation where like her allies like rally together to be like, look, we got to save Rubina. Whereas I don't feel like there's that many people who would rally to save MJ or like put themselves out there for that. So I do think like I want to give Rubina a 3. I thought it was really funny how she was talking to Angela and was like, well, you know, people see me and Tucker as a showmance. And Angela just kept being like, I don't see that. No, I don't see you guys together at all. No way. And it was like, she clearly was like, no, we are like a showmance, but like people are talking about it. And Angela's like, no, not you two. No, never. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I think
funny.
I have to side more on Mari's end here with the 2. And the reason I would go there is because I do have to place some blame on Rubina for being in this position.
True.
Starting with last week when Quinn is exposed for having the power, and knowing that he's going to be the HOH the following week, knowing that he's probably going to be coming for Tucker and that she's associated with Tucker, she still like had a conversation that was very like accusatory of like, hey, you lied to me. Like everybody else was chill with it, but Rubina like was the one who took the most offense, seemingly, at least from Quinn's perspective. And that really made Quinn feel like his relationship with her was damaged. And what she could have been doing instead was playing up the final 2 that they had at the time, knowing that he was going to be the HOH next week. I just really feel like there's so many reasons Rubina shouldn't be up on the block. And I think that Kimo and T-Core have a lot to answer for it. But I also think Rubina has a lot to answer for it. She should not be up there on the basis of her own relationship with Quinn, but she let that falter. And so if she goes home, I do think that she shares a lot of that blame. So yeah, I think I'd go with the 2.
Yeah.
I
cannot believe. No, I just can't believe that this is where she's at when she was on the rise, you know.
Literally had a final 2 with Quinn last week. Might be going home on Quinn's HOH this week.
Wow.
Not great. The audience gave her a 3 though. 3 from the audience. Okay. T-Core got a 6 last week. Can she get a 6 again?
I think I'd give her a 5. I think like similar to Kimo, like I just feel like, yeah, I don't know. Same.
Yeah. Her positioning is a little bit more favorable again, because they're playing both sides. They have Tucker and them backing them up. They have Quinn's loyalty. They're just not active enough to really flex their muscles and get a better positioning. So it's hard. I love T-Core so much. I am going to, and I think she's still more insulated than Kimo if things were to go sideways. Yeah, but I'm gonna give her a 5 though. Yeah, I'm gonna give her a 5.
Yeah, I have to. It feels wrong because I feel like she's such a better player than this.
Yeah, exactly.
But like at the end of the day, like the results just aren't there right now. Because again, again, it goes back to Rubina for me. She should not be. This should be her moment to strike. Quinn, her ally, is the HOH. Like Tucker is safe. I guess now we have to just take a good shot somewhere else. But she can't get there. And losing Rubina would be devastating to her game, and there's just such a good chance that that happens. So yeah, unfortunately, I have to go with the 5, and the audience agreed.
Wow, another 5.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which leaves us with Tucker.
Oh Jesus.
I gave him a 1 last week, and you know what? He deserved the 1 so much that he even gave me a bit of a soundbite for a 1.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very accurate.
Right? I mean, let's
Yeah.
compare it. This is Cerise.
Wah, wah.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like them both.
Man, I mean, he. I can't believe I'm saying this. He used the veto on himself this week, so improvement.
So that's good. He is the
That's good.
star.
Oh my gosh.
Strategy, strategic mastermind.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's using the veto on himself. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it goes to show that he, is recognizing that he shouldn't be super comfortable and shouldn't be like, he should actually like know that he could be going home, and maybe that'll kind of like start a fire under him to be like, okay, now I'm actually gonna like think about
Melissa.
myself. I don't know.
He's learned nothing. He's learned nothing.
Yeah.
Because to him, this is all just a game. It's all just a show. It's all just for fun. It's all for
which it is,
showtime.
which I do
Which it is.
appreciate.
Yes.
But yeah, I want him to stick around so that we can
Nope.
be enjoying his, antics rather than him leave right away, which I'm concerned about that he's going to be like the next one to go. Like the second he doesn't
Right.
win something, he's going to be
That's-
gone.
Exactly. The second he doesn't win, he's going. And that's why I got to give him a 3. Because if you look at the board here, I think everybody puts him up except for Rubina.
I don't
I
think
think-
Angela would. I don't think Rubina would.
Yeah, Angela
Rubina
can't-
might leave.
Yeah, Rubina might leave and Angela can't play next week.
Yo, yeah.
There's
There's a chance Kimo and Tikor don't either, but that
Right.
puts them in a really tight spot, and I'm not
Right.
sure they would handle that.
And
yeah.
3, do you think they'll have to still put up 3 people next week? Like if they
I mean, if anything, that's better for him because it means that there's still an AI comp. But if they get rid of the AI comp, which seems like might be likely they do, considering they're announcing a new twist,
Mhm.
that's very bad for him because all of a sudden,
True.
if he loses the HOH, no AI comp anymore, and they all plan to backdoor him. And so
God.
just like that,
Yeah,
it
it could be
the end.
over. Which would be very sad. I like him. I want him to stick around. He's very entertaining, but yeah.
he is entertaining, but he also annoys me just because whoever said it, like I don't like people who are that loud and that wrong. Like him really being like, you never said that, bro. I was like, sir. Like,
Yeah, I don't love the accents and stuff. I'm kind of just like, okay, that's a little too much. But yeah, I like the fact that he's not taking the game so seriously. Like I want someone like I want him to take it a little more seriously, but it is very like Dr. Will-esque where it's like, I'm just gonna like I want to create good TV. I want to just, team fun feeds, whatever. But
Yeah.
I do wish he had a little bit more drive to like actually win and stick around because I feel like he just is chaotic to be chaotic and not necessarily in a strategic way. So yeah.
He literally got bored. He literally got bored and forced himself into the athletic comp I have to win position. Like
Right.
this
He
is what
didn't
he
need
wanted.
that. Yeah.
When he literally was like socially in with almost everybody before his blow up. Like he was Mr. Charisma. Everybody wanted to be with him. And he had allies. He had people like Quinn was trying to work with him. He had allies that wanted to try and bring him in so that they could do real damage. And he really could have ran this game. Like I'm telling you, Tucker could have been like the next Tyler if he knew enough about the game. He had the social and the physical to really do that. but he just got so bored with the waiting and the passiveness that he has forced himself into this position where he has to win. And the sad part about it is he loves it. He loves
he could get back to it though. Like I think he could. I think if he just was like, oh, I could be going home. Like I think maybe he could get a scare and then be like, okay, I need to like get back these relationships, like solidify some alliance, like win some HOH comps and like make something out of it, get some information, start gathering the troops or whatever. Like maybe he could like rein it back in because he has that social ability, but I just don't know if he wants to do that.
I mean, that's what happens when, like, if you are the guy or the person who is able to win a bunch of comps because the comps suit you, you get this many tries, you get this many second chances, third chances, fourth chances, because not only do you get to survive weeks where you otherwise would have gone home, but people are forced to work with you and deal with you because they know that you're going to be winning. And so you're right. Tucker at any point could be like, you know what? I've had enough of that chaos. Let me settle in and actually start playing the game now. And it would work because he's going to win competitions and people know he's going to win competitions. And yeah, he could absolutely do that. Will he? I don't think so.
That's the tricky thing. Will he? I don't know.
I agree with Mari. I'd go up to a 3 this week, but you know, tenuous here because I think Kimo doesn't put him on the block.
I'll agree with the 3 because I think, like he's not going home this week. Like if we didn't know he had used the veto on himself by this point, like I would have given him way lower because it's like, why are you even thinking about not using the veto on yourself? But the fact that we know he used the veto on himself, he's not going home this week. He can win HOH. He could pull something together for next week. Like we don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, it's a 3 for me, but yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, the audience gave him a 4. A little bit higher on Tucker. Okay. That's it. That's the Stockwatch.
We did it.
We did it. I don't know. That might have been faster. I'm not sure. I feel like we're done a little quicker. But I feel like it was also very good, very efficient.
I like it. I like it that way. I feel like it's more like conversational and like
and we still took turns at times, but like I don't know, it felt good. I liked it.
And it didn't feel like we were overly repeating ourselves. So.
Yeah, I do agree with that. When we do one person at a time, it does sometimes feel like it's like, okay, well, exactly what you just said. But
you said everything I wanted to say.
Say it again because I feel like I have to say something. No, much better.
Yeah.
What a board though. Yeah. Basically
Very
there's
red.
2 people in the green. It's Chelsie and Brooklyn, and everyone else is either neutral or in the red. Which I think is an accurate state of the house right now.
Let's hope it goes up.
Safe. Yeah.
And here's the deal. I feel like Cedric had a chance to be green this week, but he volunteered for the block, and that's so just bad. Where we are.
Shouldn't have done it. You never do that.
And the board looks like this, and yet this season is so entertaining as well. Like, I love that. I love that for us.
Oh boy. Well, that is the Stockwatch for the week. Of course, if you go to readyystockwatch.com, you can play along yourself, buy and sell shares of the players, and see how you did. How you do each week based on how they are rated here on the podcast. That is how it works. Any final thoughts on the week, Melissa?
Just that I'm excited to be back and I'm excited to see what happens next week. We knew this week like it didn't matter who won HOH, so it just kind of felt like a dull week for me. So I'm excited to start anew. Get a new HOH, see if we can shake some things up and
get a new twist.
Yeah, get a new twist, I guess. So we'll see how that goes. But very excited for this next week.
Yeah. Mari, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm loving this. I just really, if this season stays this way, this is gonna be really fun. Like the fact that I have, like I said, I do love T-Core and Kimo. They are like my rooting interest, but it's still like I like everybody equally, so I'm just here to see how the game progresses. I'm just here to see what the story is of the season type thing, and it's been really fun to watch. It's yeah, I'm having a blast. The podcasts have been great. Shout out to all of the podcasters who have been on here and like sharing their opinions. Our new guests. I can't believe y'all talked to effing Bowie Jane on Sunday. That's so cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, QT
was very fun,
and
too.
Tyler, it's so fun. Yeah, like it's been a blast being a part of all of this. So, and watching this is my favorite show, hands down, and watching it with everybody, it's been fun. So, can't wait to come back and rank some more people down the line in the season.
All right. Well, that is what we have for you then this week on the Roundtable podcast. We will, of course, be back next week at our regularly scheduled time on a Tuesday instead of a Monday. We had to go on a Monday here this week because of the special episode on Tuesday, tomorrow night, which I will be live on Twitch for, and we will be live afterward to recap the recap. If you don't know what the recap of the recap is, it's basically like the slop edition of a recap podcast. It tends to be a little messy, tends to be a little chaotic. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens tomorrow night on the podcast. I will, of course, be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on everything that happened today on the Big Brother 26 live feeds. And then we'll keep it coming. Wednesday night episode, I'll be on Twitch. I'll be afterward on the podcast to recap it. Thursday night, once again, on Twitch during the episode, after the episode, on a podcast to recap.
Wow.
I have no nights this week. They're just gone. But that's the plan. Tune in for it all. And in the meantime, check out our scripted coverage over at We Know Scripted TV. And we'll have some fun. It'll be good. Melissa, what's going on?
Just this today and baby and
Just baby.
Baby, more baby, I guess. More of that every day and watching the live feeds. So yes, that's about it.
All right. And Mari.
Well, so we wrapped up our House of the Dragon coverage, the recap kickback. So that's all posted. So if you haven't checked that out already, go to youtube.com/@recapkickback. Hear me and Chappelle review and recap House of the Dragon only the way we can. And then, over on We Know Scripted TV, I joined Taran and Grace for the book club podcast, where we talked all spoilers about House of the Dragon season 2 and our thoughts on what could be coming up next. So if you're into that, you can go to the We Know Scripted YouTube page. And of course, every Tuesday, me and Sarah Carradine bring True Crime Tuesdays to RHAP. We had a fun time, just the two of us, where we talked about it was a show called Sasha Reed and the Midnight Order. Very, very, very much my first true crime docuseries. It was like, you could tell it was like aimed towards like teenagers and preteens. Very weird. Yeah, it's on Freeform, so it's like that young adult audience they were targeting. It was weird. So go check that out by going to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed to subscribe to the crime scene podcast, SEEN, where we talk about true crime documentaries, docuseries, and we tell you if you should watch them. So it's really fun. And me and Matt Scott dipped back in. People have been like, where's the wrestling wrap up? Where's the wrestling wrap up? We had to do our SummerSlam preview, not preview, but review. Yeah. We talked about everything SummerSlam 2024 on Saturday. So if you want to go to youtube.com/@wrestling-wrap-up, that's youtube.com/@wrestling-wrap-up. We posted that episode there, and just make sure you're subscribed because we're going to be popping in. Our idea, haven't talked to Rob yet, but our idea is to pop in for like the premium live events, the pay-per-views monthly until we can get our schedule situated, because I am dealing with a lot when it comes to having 2 kids, and Matt is out living his best life. He just came back from Amsterdam, so we're trying to get our schedules together. So just make sure that you're subscribed to us so you know when we come back. You can also go to Rob has a website.com/wrestling feed in order to subscribe there as well. All right, that's it.
All right.
Just that.
Well,
That's just
that
all
is what we have for you then this week. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see all of you next time.